In other news, after years of damning investigations and reports, the European Union finally taking a decisive step towards removing hate from Palestinian textbooks. According to researchers, the PA school curriculum has consistently shown a systematic insertion of violence, martyrdom, and jihad across all grades and subjects. So the EU Parliament approving an amendment that would withhold 20 million euros in aid from UNRWA, or the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees, unless, of course, immediate changes are made. So what can we expect? With the details is CEO and chair of the International Legal Forum, Arsen Ostrovsky. Arsen, thanks so much for being with us again. Now, how big of a cut is this 20 million euros for UNRWA? What's the state of their financing today?
It's a big cut. The EU is the single largest donor to UNRWA to the tune of some $160 million a year. We have to look at this, I think, in the bigger context. UNRWA has, for a long time now, been one of the main impediments to peace, aiding and abetting Palestinian terror operations throughout the region, while not only turning its back to the incitement, to the anti-Semitism, and to the glorification of violence in the Palestinian textbooks, but as we've also seen, even some of their teachers and educators really playing a leading role in really pushing forward some of these anti-Semitic actions and education and curriculum. Our organisation, the International Legal Forum, has certainly for a long time now called for an overhaul of UNRWA and the EU, for that matter, who, as we've said, are the major donor and the major funder. So it would seem that finally the EU has really said enough is enough, that no longer are they prepared to simply just turn their back to funding such hate, funding such violence. So this is certainly, I think, a very welcome step, and certainly one that we consider a prerequisite to promoting and fostering peace and reform.
So a big question, though, is how will the EU keep tabs on whether or not the PA and UNRWA are actually following through on the demanded changes? What's to stop the PA or UNRWA teachers from submitting a corrected curriculum to the EU for official notice while continuing to teach hate and incitement in the classroom?
The EU certainly has mechanisms to monitor the curriculum, to monitor the textbooks and the education reforms that are in place and requirements that have been put forward. But one of the interesting things, I think, in this particular amendment is the EU has said that if the Palestinians and UNRWA do not reform, if they do not remove this incitement, remove this hate and intolerance, what the EU will then do is they will take this $20 million which has been allocated for UNRWA, and instead they will give it to Palestinian NGOs. But those NGOs that are promoting tolerance or promoting peace, teaching about respect. So essentially what they said they will do is, if you don't reform, we will take the money that is designated to you, we'll take it away from you, and we'll instead give it directly to Palestinian NGOs on the ground who show a commitment to fostering peace, education, and tolerance.
All right, now you mentioned teachers earlier, and we know that under this new guideline from the EU-funded salaries for school staff in the Palestinian territories, their salaries will also be conditioned on whether or not they make the materials reflective of these values of peace and tolerance. What about getting rid of some of the staff who have expressed hateful or racist or anti-Semitic rhetoric on their own time, such as those exposed by UN Watch very recently?
Look, that's certainly a very large problem. Organisations like UN Watch, and also I should add Impact as well, which has done a tremendous amount of research to expose a lot of this anti-Semitic hate and curriculum in the Palestinian school books. So certainly that has really come to the fore, and UNRWA itself has announced that they will be investigating some of these teachers and representatives. So I think that remains to be seen what will come off these investigations. They've at least conceded that there is an issue, and only I think a few months ago, even the EU Parliament for the first time actually singled out and condemned UNRWA for their anti-Semitic rhetoric and actions.
Yeah, that was last April. All right, well, I think we have a lot more to see here in terms of how this will affect UNRWA in the coming months. Arsen Ostrovsky, thank you so much.
Thank you.